Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into a new edition of the Batter Up podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Top of the lineup back with you, Danny Boy Reginald, the old ops guy, Mike Rifke with you. Gentlemen, good morning. How we feeling?
As my neighbor said to me, sun shining, bright, nice. More can you ask for?
Sure, it's been nice the past couple of days out here.
Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous the last couple of days in New York.
Miss you guys. Okay.
We can hug you through the computer. How you doing, Dan?
Okay. Still waiting on the Knicks to figure out who their opponent is gonna be, and that's gonna be tonight. We'll find out then.
Yeah.
I'm not in love that it's on Prime Video. Get it off the streaming, please. Put it on NBC, put it on ABC. The NBA has to do a better job at making it readily available for everybody. That's the problem.
Well, I think this is a fair question or conversation about every sport. The NFL schedule just came out. Look at the amount of games Netflix gets and
That's right.
Peacock's getting, By the way, we had the conversation in our group chat on Friday night about the Subway Series game being put on Apple TV.
That was the biggest fuck up I've seen yet. Sorry. I apologize.
It's like that's another thing, and we'll dive in more into the Subway series in a second. This is a New York event. Let the New York broadcasters broadcast it. I want to see it on, yes, not Prime Video, yes. I'm talking about yes.
Or SNY.
SNY, Channel 11, for those of you that want to watch it over the air. Make it a New York thing. Apple TV with Wayne Rendazzo. I don't care that he was a Met broadcaster at one point.
Ugh. I actually did not listen to the announcing in that game at all. I don't mind listening to John Smoltz. I happen to like his analysis when he actually talking about pitching. When he talks about everything else, forget about it. But when he talks about pitching, he actually knows what he's talking about.
I'm sorry. And I respect Joe Davis because he's a hardworking broadcaster. He is the biggest fucking homer on the planet. I don't want him broadcasting the Mets or the Yankees. If he's a Dodger fan, no, fuck out of here.
The fact that the Subway Series is being played and we get one game this weekend. For Mark and I, it's Gary, Keith, and Ron. For Dan, it's Michael K. and whoever he's working with. It's abysmal. I'm with you. I hate the Apple broadcasts. I don't love the fact that the NFL is going straight streaming. The fact that a game 7 in the NBA playoffs tonight's on Peacock or whatever, or Prime or whatever it is.
It's on Prime Video, which makes no sense. If it was game 3, fine. Not game 7.
You wanted a spotlight for the game. NBC, ABC, they would have drawn ratings. No, we got to put it on Prime.
And then it's readily
everyone's available. Gone to the streaming world.
It's readily available to everybody. Not everybody is going to pay for Amazon Prime. That's just the reality. Yes, a lot of us pay for it because we want the shipping of our products and stuff.
Right.
But not everyone's going to pay for that. People share that shit. They don't go for it for Prime Video.
Right. That's not why we got Prime in the first point, to get NFL or any sports, any major league sports out of it.
And it's expensive,
Yeah,
dude.
it should look. I understand when they did MLB TV and what it cost, and then they had you had NFL Sunday Ticket and what it cost. That's understandable. I got that. I didn't pay for it, but I understood it. I don't understand giving Netflix, Apple TV, and Prime Video games. Period.
Yes.
These are games that should be kept on channels where it should be viewed, meaning in home states. If it's blacked out in other states, hey, there's not much we can do about that. But
Yeah.
if you're in your home state, throw it on Channel 4, NBC, like Dan said.
Yeah. Like and again, like I know the NFL does it where if it's on Prime Video, it will be airing in your local market over the air, but that misses the point.
Right.
Get
The,
it
the,
off,
the other games,
you know,
yeah.
no, it should be readily available to everybody. And again, with this Friday night example with the Yankees and Mets, it is very clear how out of touch these billionaire corporations and these billion-dollar sports moguls continue to price out the fans. It's ridiculous.
And I actually think this is really a good place to actually start the conversation because we do know that this week or this past week, the MLB and the Players Union started their labor talks.
Mhm.
And Dan, I think you hit something right on the head there because when we talk about, particularly when we're talking about bringing in potential salary cap or whatever, so these small market teams have a chance, quote unquote. We also got to remember the prices that these owners are charging to go to a ball game, the
Yeah.
prices of concessions, the prices of parking your car if you're driving. Although now, if you live in the New York area, you kind of have to drive because the LIRR is on strike again.
Or,
But that's
or
a whole nother conversation.
or maybe take a ferry. Yeah, I saw people take ferries to City
Yeah,
Field.
Oh,
that
did they
that's
take a
active.
nice? But I think when we talk about this labor situation, there's an argument. Yeah, the players can talk, the owners can talk, but the people who don't get to talk are the fans because it's already expensive to take a family to a ball game. Now we're talking about maybe making it more because of what might happen in terms of the salary caps and stuff if that turns into a major play.
It's a pretty simple ladder. No fans, no tickets. No tickets, no money, no money, no team. That's a simple ladder. It's going to get to the point where not just the average family can't afford, it's going to come to the point where the above average family is not going to spend $550 on a day to go to a game. It's too expensive, even for an above average family. What's the point?
Yeah. So this is from Jeff Passett of ESPN. In a face to face meeting in New York, each side offered opening presentations, sources said, though no proposals were made. MLB intends to pursue a salary cap system, a financial structure that players staunchly oppose. The current deal, which came after a 99-day lockout by the league that threatened the beginning of the 2022 season, expires December 1st. If there is no agreement by the time the deal lapses, MLB is expected to again lock out the players, causing work stoppage that could jeopardize games into next year. So, again, the salary cap being a big part of this. During the presentation, sources said the sides outlined their views on the game, noting challenges they see and opportunities to use labor negotiations as a tool to move it forward. While MLB is on pace to generate record revenues and has seen national television ratings soar this year, owners continue to sing the virtues of a cap, a mechanism the MLB has resisted for decades. Okay, so let's put the cap to the side, Dan, for a second. What are some other things you would like to see talked about in these labor negotiations?
Well, for one thing, I would like if they're gonna implement like new parts of baseball, how the players are gonna be protected with that. Because we're already seeing it with the ABS challenges and all the other stuff. Um, that it kind of sort of benefits the officials more than the players. So sort of like that type of thing. Um, and then on top of that, I really need the owners to start having a conversation, if not about a salary cap, about the broadcast model, because you are seeing several different teams go to a centralized broadcast model that MLB has been trying to build for years, and they're agreeing to it. And some of these teams have to start being real with the Yankees and the Mets and the Red Sox and the Dodgers, as much as we love our local networks. And I would hate to see those go away. You know, particularly with me, I my first ever job in broadcasting, getting paid was with SNY, and I enjoyed my time with SNY. And they were awesome to me. They were great. I would hate to see that go. Times are changing. So some of these teams who are in smaller markets have to start being real with some of these owners that own these broadcast networks. As much as we would hate to see it go, it's unsustainable for MLB to have its own platform and then the Yankees have their own platform and then they continue to profit. So if they're not gonna have a salary cap, they gotta have some type of shared revenue somewhere. I don't know if y'all agree with me, but
No.
the reality is if it's already starting to happen, at the very least have the conversation about centralizing the broadcast. And of course, you can always, like the Nationals are doing it right now, where not maybe not all the games, but some of the games are on over-the-air television. You can make it readily available to people in under this model.
When it comes time talk with labor, I've been through this a couple times. And the last thing I want to see is another work stoppage.
Yeah.
I mean, that we've talked about this not just here now. We've spoken about this at length over a few pods, and we're all on the same wavelength that we don't want a work stoppage because we want baseball.
Yeah. The
Even though the Mets
momentum,
are sorry, Dan, go ahead.
the momentum has been tremendous for baseball. A work stoppage would be horrible.
The way look that trust me, the way the season started for a few teams, it's not been the way I expected. But if you're looking at the way it is being marketed, it's generating not just newer viewers, it's garnishing in older viewers to come back and watch. The way they're being able to explain the game, show different captions of how the fastball works, the curveball works, and how it falls. All these graphics and things make it more interesting instead of just listening to three guys talk about, hey, what? No, you actually get to view what they're talking about. Keep baseball as it is. I know it's an impossible fact because of the almighty greenback. It's the issue. And you have to be fair to teams like Miami and the White Sox, which, by the way, I want to know who the schmuck who said Murakami couldn't hit a ball above 90 miles an hour. That scout deserves to be banned.
Dumbasses.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, even I kind of knew like he. I didn't expect this though. I did not
Oh,
By
expect
the
no,
way,
no. I didn't expect 17 home runs
like
either.
shout out the White Sox. A
he's
game
raking.
over 500.
Yes,
Yeah. So,
progress.
I mean, I just want to meet the analyst who came out and said, look, Murakami's not going to do good in the MLB because he can't hit anything above 90 miles an hour. Back
That's
to
what you know.
back to the one and only, the Punt Master, Mike.
I think there's a couple of things I'd like to see addressed when it comes to this CBA. Dan, you hit the broadcasts. I'm going to hit travel a little bit because I think the Mets schedule this year has been repulsive in terms of they've already made multiple West Coast trips, so they got to make another one at some point. So we got to figure out the travel part. The other thing I would say is to the point you guys just made about baseball not being able to afford a work stoppage at the moment because the it's gaining attention. Like baseball's in a spot it hasn't been in years when you think of the star power. In particular, the guys who run the show. Otani, Judge, the star power's there.
And they're making the playoffs. You know, that has been massive for
Yeah.
baseball. The fact that you have the star players competing for championships. How many years, Mike, have we seen star players not even sniff the playoffs because they're on a sucky team?
Mike Trout's made the playoffs one time. But by the way, I do want to say this. Shout
What
out
a
Mike
fact that
Trout for the
is.
start he's having too.
Mhm.
Welcome back.
Renaissance here,
Thank
man.
God.
But
Maybe he has 10 years left in him. You know?
maybe he does.
Maybe
But
he's the best center fielder next year.
Dan, like the good teams like the playoffs, and also now you have everyone has a team that they could just despise.
Yes.
The Dodgers, unless you're a Dodger fan, every fan base should despise the Dodgers. Not because of what they do, but it's because of who they are.
Yeah.
They are the Yankee evil empire. And everyone despised those early 2000s Yankees and late 90s Yankees. Now we have another team that is a villain. And you want to see that villain taken down. So while, yeah, everyone wants to get to their level, we want to witness it. So a work stoppage now is the worst possible thing for the sport that can least afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we also have a conversation, just adding to your point about, the star power and, the draw? Do you want to start having the conversation about the realignment phase? It's been thought about for many years about
It's been discussed.
realigning the
Let's
year.
have it.
Even your conversation or your hypothetical conversation about travel. If you, I don't want to say do two separate leagues again because we've done that model before, and it's way more profitable to be centralized league. But you can have less games against one league, the Western League, and the Eastern League. You have more games, right?
Right. You could do that. And how it probably would be broken up.
Right.
Let me see if I can get a map of the potential realignment. But
Like that's also something. It probably won't happen with this CBA, but I would imagine it's something that if Major League Baseball is talking about it, Like the idea of it or a concept of a plan, thank you, Donald Trump. Um, you know, of that type of deal. It should at least be thrown into the mix. Be like, what would really um make things very interesting? Having the Yankees and the Mets compete for the same
So,
division.
so this is from a Fox article
I
last
knew this
year.
would come up eventually.
This is the map they drew up for the new realignment. They call the American League Northeast will be the Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, and Phillies.
Wow.
The American League Mid Atlantic would be the Orioles, Nationals, Pirates, and Guardians. The American League Great Lakes, Twins, Tigers, Brewers, Blue Jays.
I swear I'm listening to the basketball breakdown by Dan Patrick right now.
And the American League Southeast. Now, this also has an expansion team in it. So it'd be the Braves, Marlins, Rays, and a team they're putting in Charlotte.
Like the other conversation they were having.
So the
when you're done here.
National League would look like this. The Midwest Division would be the Cubs, White Sox, Cardinals, and Reds. The Central Division would be the Rockies, Royals, Rangers, and Astros.
Well, there you have a chance of two teams making the playoffs, Rockies and Royals.
The Southwest would be the Dodgers, Padres, Angels, and Diamondbacks. Man,
Wow.
poor Angels couldn't catch a break in this.
Wow.
And the Northwest would be the Mariners, A's, Giants, and a team they would put in Portland, Oregon. So that ties in, Dan, to another part, realignment, expansion. So we would have to see.
The other talk is the possibility of games being played in Japan. Not just one game, possibly in the next decade, integrating Japan and the United States in one
globalize
league.
the game, kind of like what the NFL's do.
I don't know.
Correct.
I don't know if I love that. I mean,
it's a very big talk going on right now. There's nothing concrete. There's no foundry of it, but it's a discussion being had. And I think personally, you had the WBC. So there's talent except in Taiwan. There's talent everywhere but there. You want to globalize a sport that would actually do well, baseball's the one. I love the idea of football, and all that. But I mean, come on. China is not going to have many big, wide set guys. They're all going to be skinny. Yeah, baseball itself is not just a sport, it's a language. It is a basic language, and it's a game everybody can get behind.
Can they do something similar to NFL Europe, where they dismantle the league they have now and create a new Japan league that's sort of like the top tier? Think of it this way. If they were to actually do something like this, rather than Japan having a posting system, because it's a part of Major League Baseball, you get the free movement of players from all aspects of life, from Japan to the United States. Or maybe instead of MLB Japan, you have an MLB Asia, where you're facing teams from multiple different countries. Since they're all so close together, so close
Right.
to
And because it becomes a product of MLB, there'd be no posting fees.
exactly.
Exactly.
Become free agents.
A free movement of players. You can send players who aren't getting an opportunity in the United States to Korea. And let's just say you have someone in Korea that's raking, you can send them to the United States.
Yep.
I mean, if they really are considering this.
All I know is there's been talks. There's no foundry. There's nothing solid to even bring it together. But the idea of it alone, I like. It would literally, just like the WBC, unite the world in a sport. I mean, on the Eastern Hemisphere, all you hear is cricket and football.
Mhm.
On the Western Hemisphere, it's baseball and football, the real one.
Something I would also add to the All-Star game, and I don't know if they'll do this. So we get the Derby on Monday, Tuesday's the game. I would be excited if MLB would partner up with the Savannah Bananas to do something during the All-Star week.
That would be pretty cool.
It would get their brand looked at as well.
If you
Although they're
haven't watched
very
the special
popular.
on them on ESPN, if you haven't watched the special on them, watch it. It is great.
Their story, that league story is
It's fantastic.
something, yeah.
Top notch, dude. Yeah.
Oh, all right. So labor talks have begun in Major League Baseball. We'll see if it gets us anywhere, as long as we don't have a work stoppage.
Yeah.
27.
Early prediction for me is there are going to be 154 games next year.
So we'll see what happens there. But we do have some other stuff to talk about. We've had quite the week in baseball when it comes to pitching injuries. Both the Mets and the Yankees are affected by that. Max Fried goes on the IL for the Yankees with some issues with his elbow.
That was a shocker.
Yeah, they're calling it a bone bruise. I mean,
they called it originally like a posterior something.
Because of inflammation due to his hard throwing nature of his throwing and all that stuff. Something's up with his elbow. Something's up with his elbow. Yankees aren't saying it, and that's okay. Like I get it. I get it. Look, you're trying to protect the fans' feelings because you know that Max Fried has had issues with his throwing arm for his entire career. So I get it. Whatever. Like us real Yankee fans know something's up with his elbow.
You just don't want to hear these words, Tommy John.
And look, the fact that you're avoiding that now is a good sign. Like I'll take that as a win.
Oh yeah,
but I'm not stupid. Like something's wrong.
Yeah. So Max Fried goes down for the Yankees. Former Yankee Clay Holmes went down for the Mets after getting hit by a line drive. He's now got a broken leg.
And Stan.
I mean that is terrible. I mean,
bad luck. That's all.
Has the team had worse luck though?
Yeah. Oh my god. Like that is brutal though. Like, of course it's a comebacker. It is a comebacker.
It was 111 miles per hour right at his leg.
Oh my god.
And he's out there laughing. I would have been out there screaming and crying.
He pitched the next inning.
God damn.
By the way, I'm going to give Spencer Jones a little bit of credit here. He did apologize after the game. Dan is sharing the screen.
Oh, sounds off. I'm so sorry. Hold up. The reporters, the Clay Holmes broke his fibula. This is Spencer Jones.
Yeah, it's the first I've heard of that. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. We work out in Nashville together, so it's tough to hear.
I don't know if you heard, but Holmes fractured his fibula on the comebacker from you. Just how tough is that to?
Oh, I didn't know
have
that.
Be the...
Yeah, it's the first I've heard of that. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's a friend of mine. We work out in Nashville together, so it's tough to hear.
Also, weird to know that Clay Holmes and Spencer Jones are good friends.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So, but you know what? That was a very cool thing for Jones to say, I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Obviously was unintentional, but those aren't the only pitchers that went down. Chase Dollander of the Rockies has an elbow strain.
Rough.
I think there were a couple of other injuries, but on a positive pitching,
Blake Snell is now out indefinitely.
who?
Blake Snell is now out indefinitely.
Blake Snell, right? Loose bodies.
Yep.
By the way, what's it with the Dodger pitchers and loose bodies in the elbow? First Edwin Diaz, and now, we'll get to the other Edwin Diaz thing in a few minutes. But on a positive pitching front, Tarek Skubal's already started to play catch for the Tigers 2 weeks after surgery. For those loose bodies.
Be back. Look, we know what Tariq Skubal is. I hope he just doesn't rush himself back and becomes the Eric Gagne of baseball.
No.
Or the tendency of baseball.
No. Modern medicine will never make him Eric Gagne. You know?
By the way, if there's one person who's going to be really affected by a work stoppage, it might be Tarek Skubal. Because he's going to get paid.
Well, I'll tell you what he's gonna have to do. He's gonna have to take a short-term deal. Not much
2
money.
years.
It's a prove it.
Yeah. Well,
And
especially with
Sucky
the work
is out.
stoppage.
Yeah, and
With the
Sucky's out.
possibility of a work.
It's gonna be Sucky, Mark. It's gonna suck.
Yeah. Now, assuming there is stoppage, the amount of money is not going to be on the table that he wants right away. So, yeah, I agree, Mike. Take a 1-2 year deal in the beginning, let baseball get back on its feet, and then go where you got to go.
Again, we'll see what happens there. But he has started playing catch for a Tiger team that is totally underachieved this year so far.
It's a shame. You have that young kid McGonigal who's like raking.
Oh, he looks like the real. Let me tell you something. They just played the Mets at Citi Field. That dude can play shortstop.
Like he's a beast. So it's a shame.
And he can hit.
Range. Great range.
Between him, Riley Green, some of the young pitchers
good
they
combo.
got. Ooh. All right. Like we said earlier, we bringing up Edwin Diaz now because Edwin Diaz is in the news again. This time for something low-key a little out there. But according to USA Today, federal agents stopped a cockfighting circle, and one of the people involved was Dodger closer Edwin Diaz. MLB has not put out a statement, and I don't believe the Dodgers have put out any statement either.
Not that I've seen.
But yeah, Edwin Diaz in a cockfighting circle in Puerto Rico.
So this brings up the Michael Vick. You bring that up. Now, this wasn't done in the, in the continental United States. There's very little news proving he was there. I mean, there's some. So obviously, we can speculate all we want, but until we get all the information, we're not going to be able to be concrete. This is just another bad thing on top of another bad thing for Edwin Diaz. First, now the elbow, so he's out 4 months. Now he's seen in I don't know what I want to call it, an illegal sport. And I don't know if it's illegal where it was being done. So,
So
it's legal in Puerto Rico.
Technically, it's very complicated. So for the longest time, it was legal. However, and it's a timeless tradition. Like it's across the island. They do cockfighting all the time there. But the United States, in addition to its mainland federal ban, they also banned it in all of its territories, and Puerto Rico has to honor the United States policy. So it's banned officially, but locally, a lot of these
Done.
Puerto Ricans, the politicians even celebrate cockfighting. Like this is one of the things that they do. So I know they try to find a way to get some loopholes in there to allow it to happen. It, it's it hasn't quite worked out. So officially banned, but celebrated across the island by everybody.
So this is
And okay.
this is
Go ahead.
from the New York Post. To Dan's point, while cockfighting is a centuries-old tradition in Puerto Rico, it was banned there when the U.S. federal government outlawed the practice in all territories in 2019. And the Puerto Rico politicians initially tried to defy the ban by adopting carve-outs in their own local laws. So they tried to make their own clubs.
Yeah. By the way, it was at the tabloid, the El Nuevo Dia, where they allegedly found Edwin Diaz involved in the cockfighting thing. So
Along with his brother Alexis.
yeah, and that's like the island's biggest newspaper. So it's a big deal. Like you're getting caught by that.
Well, and the Dodgers respond to this. And we'll go from there.
Look, it wasn't done. It's complicated. If there if Edwin Diaz is doing something illegal officially, he needs to be held accountable for that. I mean,
Agreed.
it sucks because where he comes from, it's not that big a deal. But in US circles, it is a big deal. Like you're gonna have animal rights activists and all these people, humane society, whatever it is, try to go after Edwin Diaz and all these other people, who are doing harm to the animals. Like it's a big deal. Like you can't ignore that. And there's going to be massive outrage.
Now, I don't want to sound ignorant and I don't want to sound stupid, but I'm going to ask this. Is just him being in attendance for this a problem? Or is it, did he own one of the,
That's the thing.
like these are things I think we need to also figure out.
We need more information. And again, that's why
Right.
I'm not saying Edwin Diaz 100% should be held accountable. No, like we have to figure out what he did. How was he truly involved in this? Look, so far it doesn't look good for him in that circumstance because, there's going to be assumption and, you're guilty by association until you can prove yourself.
And even after you
We'll see
prove
what happens.
yourself,
We
it
will
doesn't
keep an eye
matter
on it.
sometimes.
Yeah.
By the way, here's a quick message to Major League Baseball. Don't think you could try to sweep this out under the rug like you tried with my guy Ibe.
Yeah.
Who
Or how
called me earlier from prison to try to tell me what bets to put on the
or how
basketball game tonight.
or how it was completely swept under the rug. The Shohei Ohtani gambling nonsense.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Where it was very clear and obvious that Shohei Ohtani was gambling, and you allowed his interpreter to take the fall. No, no.
If you do something wrong, you deserve to be punished.
Yeah.
It's the way it works. All right. So, from one California issue to another, the Giants stink, even though they won last night against the A's. But last week, they traded catcher Patrick Bailey for a prospect. And then USA Today had a good article that the Giants were listening to offers on other big name players, including Rafael Devers, who they acquired last season from the Red Sox. With the Giants sitting, let me open up ESPN for a second. But the Giants have not had the year they thought. The Giants are not in a great situation, Mark. But if you're the Giants, and would you blow this thing up? Giants are
I don't know
19
if I
and
get rid.
27.
I don't know if I get rid of it all, but there are pieces you have a chance to move to gain yourself back some way to start and rebuild. Obviously, Mike just brought up the main name, Rafael Devers. You still have Matt Chapman on the list. Luis Arias is batting 318. You know, and you got Clark Schmidt, who's batting 293 with 8 home runs. So you have players that you can end up, if you decide you want to end this and say, look, this is not our year, let's rebuild and restart. You could actually put together some nice packages if you want to get rid of some of these high priced players. And I know there's a team that would be dying for a third baseman right now and might be interested in if the San Francisco Giants were willing to trade for a third baseman or maybe a first baseman. I'd be interested in Chapman or Devers. You kidding me? It they're 19 and 27. There's a couple of teams that are just as bad or are not going to blow it up. But in the case of the question, by the deadline, if they're sitting like this, you have all these prime players. I try to move whatever I can to get what I can now.
It's becoming June. What, 2 weeks?
About
Like, you if you're under 500 by mid-June, like you need to be having those conversations about moving players. Um, while we're very happy with some of the players that are doing well for the Giants, it hasn't translated to wins, and they're already up against it because of the division we're in.
right.
So unless they can make a miraculous run from now to the end of June, it doesn't look good.
So the Giants, like I mentioned, 19 and 27. Forget the division a second. They're 9 games out in the division. But if you look at the wild card, the only team the Giants have a better record than right now are the Rockies, and that's only by a game.
And then obviously that's a severe problem.
Right.
I mean, when you look at this team looked a lot better than it's actually playing.
So, and then this is from Bob Nightingale. These are contracts, according to him, the Giants would love to get off. Jung Ho Lee was $85 million remaining on its deal.
Nobody's
Willie
jumping on him.
Adames was $161 million remaining on his deal. Rafael Devers, who was $226.5 million left. And Matt Chapman, who was $125 million left. But this is the problem when you're an organization who went all in, and then midway through, you're like, well, we got to now turn back because we're not as good as we thought. And this comes down to, and I don't blame Buster Posey, even though he's the president of baseball ops and he doesn't have that experience. But when you hire a first-time manager, and Tony Vitello, who comes from the college ranks, your sign should be, okay, we're starting over. Let him work with younger players because that's what he's used to, as opposed to guys who have, in the case of Devers and Chapman, former All-Stars, former MVP candidates. Now, the other part is this. If you want another team to take on Devers and pay down but $226.5 million, guess what? You're not going to get the return you want. So the only guy you may get a nice package for might be Jung Ho Lee, because it's only 85 million bucks. I just said the words only 85 million bucks.
Yeah,
Myself.
but we've also talked about this for a while. This is what happens when you hand out enormous contracts
Yeah.
with no insurance backing on any of it.
Well, let's be honest. They threw out all three of these deals. They didn't sign the Devers deal. The Red Sox did. They just decided to acquire it.
And that's saying that's 6 of one, half dozen of another. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
They're still paying it.
That can get you a lot of Ghirardelli chocolate out there in San Francisco.
That is true. Look, San Francisco needs to make a run now. If they can't do that, then yes, get what you can. There are teams that have good farm systems that are going to be looking to upgrade, considering how this season has started, and also how many teams have an injury list as long as a Louisville Slugger.
The Louisville Slugger. All right, so that's the Giants. Is there anyone else you guys are looking at that you'd like? You know what? It might be at the end. Because I've got one for sure. I think this is the end of the Astros.
Well, their time has finally come. I mean, they're not what the World Series, whatever, were. They weren't the year after that, and they're not the year before that. There's no Bregman no more. Altuve is a shell of what he used to be.
Altuve got hurt last night.
Now that I did not know. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, what is there left? It's time for the Astros to rebuild.
Move off of Christian Walker. Move off of
Yordan Alvarez.
all. Do you know the package you could get for Yordan Alvarez?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do it, but
I'll tell you this. I don't think they'll do it at the deadline, but it's definitely something to think about this offseason.
yep.
It's only because, not that they're not relevant. Astros, I think, are a good enough organization where they could take some time to, do a hard reset. But man, like they're not competing. No Correa, no Altuve. Like,
They wanted to run it back when they got Correa, and it just hadn't worked.
it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. The pitching's a disaster.
That's fine. You had a great run.
Right. It's time. All teams come to that point where it's time to structurally rebuild. And out of all the teams we talked about, even the Giants, the Astros are the ones you have to look at.
Yeah, the Astros could look there. I mean, I don't know where else you could really look. I mean,
Like,
Dan, would you kind of reset if the Yankees don't win this year?
oh, God, no. Maybe like a retool, not necessarily a rebuild.
No, that's what I mean. Reset, not rebuild.
Well, for the Astros, I'm talking about like a complete total reset. You need to get rid of everybody, rebuild. Yankees, no, they just need to restructure how they run things. No Volpe. Probably gonna have to put Jason Dominguez or Spencer Jones, see how he works out. Because the Yankees have enough pieces that are still very much a massive part of the lineup and everything. One person I'll move off of is Jazz Chisholm, man. Like, I had a lot of high hopes for Jazz Chisholm. It just
Think he was going to go 50-50 like he did.
Just hasn't worked out.
50-50. Shame being the Yankees, the only way that guy comes close to 50 home runs.
By the way, if I was a Yankee fan, I would be pissed off about that. I don't want you hitting 50 homers. The 50 steals I'll take. I don't want you hitting 50 homers. There's one guy who I hitting 50 homers as a Yankee. His name's Aaron Judge. All right. Some series to watch this week. For the week, you got the Reds and the Phillies. Phillies back to 500.
Slowly made the climb back, but Aaron Nola got
Aaron
destroyed
Nola
yet
has been
again.
awful.
Ever since the injury, he has not come back the same. And, look, it's a sad thing because a few years ago, if you watched him pitch, he was lights out. He was really something to watch.
It was one of the DeGrom Cy Youngs where 1, 2, and 3 was DeGrom, Scherzer, and Nola. And you couldn't argue any one of the three didn't deserve to win it.
Right. I mean, but since that injury, I believe, what was it, 2 years ago to Nola's shoulder, he has not been the same since.
Yeah, it's been good. Reds, young team, looking to get back into it. Cubs beat them up pretty good last week.
Yeah.
The Guardians go to Detroit to play the Tigers.
A good rebound match for the Tigers. I mean, look, I love my Mets, but let's face it, the Mets upset the Tigers this weekend, and the Tigers need to get back on a roll. So this will be a good matchup for them to prove themselves back to where they were.
And gain some ground in the division.
Yeah.
Dan, the Yankees will host the Blue Jays.
It's been a rough stretch for the Yankees. Very, very rough stretch. They got swept out of Milwaukee. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Orioles. And now they're in a rubber match with the Mets, which, if you've been following my predictions on the Subway Series for this leg of the Subway Series, I said that the Yankees would lose the series to the Mets. Well, I think that's going to happen. Yankees' approach to the plate sucks. It's been horrible of late. Yankee pitching is okay. Bullpen needs a lot of work. It's very clear and obvious that Bednar is not a long-term closer option.
No.
So they're going to have to, once again, maybe find through the deadline or maybe out of just pure luck with one of these young guys to find a true closer. No, like I have a lot of concerns about the Yankees going into this Blue Jay series because if you can't even beat the Orioles, and then of course you can't beat the Mets, who always play tough against the Yankees no matter what their team structure looks like, I'm gonna have a lot of issues and concerns against the Blue Jays. So no, it's definitely something to watch with the Yankees right now because it just whatever it is, whatever the April that they had is just not hasn't translated yet in May. And it's the middle of the month already.
Also, I want to ask you an offensive question. What the hell happened to Austin Wells?
I don't know. He's good. He's the World Baseball Classic hangover is real, man.
Oh, he's been brutal.
It sucks. And he was not good in April either. Like
And I know he's been bad all year. My
so
fantasy team explains it.
it's rough. It's rough, man.
So you got the Brewers and the Cubs for first place in the NL Central. The Pirates and the Cardinals are both over 500. They'll play each other.
I think the Cardinals will die. I mean, they're not die. I mean, die out. Will
The
fall out.
Cardinals are
So far they haven't slowed down.
they've been really good.
I thought they would slow down after like 3 weeks into the season. Oh, this is just a fluke. Every team starts off great and then they fall off. Ali Marmol has done a tremendous job
Ollie Marmol has done a good
with
job.
this ball club. They're always ready. They're always playing tough. They keep the ball in play. They make big plays. They obviously get the big hits when needed. Like this team is slowly but surely becoming a very competitive eyesore for the National League to watch.
JJ Weatherholt
Mhm.
can play. That kid can play. And the Dodgers will go to San Diego to play the Padres.
Yeah.
Where they may run into National League Cy Young favorite Mason Miller, who has been
being
awesome.
crazy, but did Fernando Tatis hit a home run last night?
No, Tatis is
He's
yet
still without a home run. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, another one of my fantasy players who have done very well for me.
Would not be one I would have had on the list not to have at least one by now.
He has the same amount as the three of us.
Big old goose egg.
Yeah. And then next weekend, the Dodgers will continue their road trip. They'll go to Milwaukee to play the Brewers. Dan's Yankees will host the Rays next weekend. That'll be the first time since the Rays swept them, right?
Yeah, and like I said, I have concerns about the Blue Jays series now. And then, of course, I'm the fact that the Yankees are playing the Rays, who already beat them. It's the Rays are in first place and doing pretty nice job. So
How they're in first place, no one knows, but they find ways.
well, I mean, look, the Rays build their ball club the way they do out of necessity, and sometimes it happens every year though. It's just pure luck.
See,
Sometimes you just
Moneyball shouldn't have been about the A's. It should have been about the Rays.
Yes.
Braves are building a $1.2 billion stadium down there now.
Yeah, I think that they went through the initial votes, right, in Tampa.
And it passed.
Yeah.
And it passed.
Yeah, the new owner got it passed.
So, I mean, good for the Rays. Finally, they get to play.
Hopefully they can fill it.
Yeah, I mean, finally they get to play in Tampa proper, instead of people
Well,
having
look,
to
what
go
happened
miles
during
away.
that hurricane was tragic. I mean, you
Yeah.
couldn't was tragic. You couldn't prepare for it. Well, you could prepare for it, but
Yeah.
you didn't expect it.
Yeah, and look, they were gonna get a new ballpark in St. Petersburg. Like they were staying there. So I think the hurricane was actually a blessing in disguise because it allowed Tampa Bay to see the value of having the Rays, in Tampa.
Yeah. So the Rays will go to the Bronx. They'll play the Yankees. You get the Cardinals and Reds next weekend. The Guardians and the Phillies, and the first place Sacramento Athletics going to San Diego to play the Padres next weekend. So that's your week to look ahead to. For Mark and I's Mets, they'll be playing the Nationals and Marlins this week.
We can just sweep both and get back onto track here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that'll do it for this edition of the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout Millwood here on the Sports Insanity Network. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications here on the YouTube page. Go to the website, thesportsinsanitynetwork.com for great blogs, logs, plays, streams, and automobiles. Follow the socials. Facebook, the Sports Insanity Network. Twitter, S Insanity Real. And for Danny Boy, for the old ops guy, and I'm Mike. We'll talk to you all again next week here on the Batter Up Podcast, sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood here